All right. Based on this, guys, I'm pretty sure that this is live. Like 4.3 is just going to go live randomly. This is ISC, though, the 4.3 patch report, but there is a Kruger ship commercial. That only goes live when the patch goes live. So let's watch ISC first, and we'll watch the commercial later, but probably not on YouTube because it usually gets demonetized. So Inside Star Citizen 4.3 patch report. Let's see.
Here, I'm here. We got one take. Let's talk about the elevator in the room. Now, up until this point, freight elevators were mostly used in
Oh my God, this guy's doing a YouTube apology video. All right, here we go. There's nothing, there's no apology. We told you for 8 months that they were broken. There's nothing this man can say that will help. We told you, you didn't listen. End of story. Don't want to hear it. Get the fucking, I'm surprised he doesn't have a ukulele.
single-player short-term environments like personal hangars. There would usually only be one user, and on the back end it would be stowed when you left and a fresh new freight elevator presented every single time you went back in.
I can't. We're going to listen to this 23 seconds again, and I want you to see the spin in your face. Anybody ever do cargo missions before that they hype the fuck out of that are actually quite cool? I want you to listen to this again.
You're here. I'm here. We got one take. Let's talk about the elevator in the room. Now, up until this point, freight elevators were mostly used in single-player short-term environments like personal hangars.
No, they weren't. They are used in CZs. They are used in cargo missions. They are used at Hathor. They are used... Oh!
Usually only be...
Why are you like this? Just admit you were bad at your job once in your life. Not you, Jared. The company. Just admit you fucked up.
One user, and on the back end it would be stowed when you left and a fresh new freight elevator presented every single time you went back in. Now, while certainly not perfect, these tended to operate better than the ones out in the wilderness at, say, outposts, which, like many other things in the verse, tended to compound their issues over time the longer they were left to run.
Yep. Hold on.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God. Stop fucking lying.
Now, of all the known issues with all the freight elevators in the game, most tend to revolve around simple things like it just doesn't work, and bigger problems like all my items have vanished and they're now lost forever, which itself can often tie into other issues with things like long-term persistence, which we're gonna have an SCL on with Benoit soon to discuss some new developments there. So if it's okay with you, we're gonna stick to freight elevators for the time being.
Okay, so he admits that the outpost elevators are bad, but they're not recognizing the just all of the content that you have developed over the last year has involved these. They've all been broken. We continuously told you, and just say I'm sorry. Done.
Now at this point, I'm not really telling you anything that most active players don't already know. But it's important to note that these issues have been egregious enough that we'd already started a directed repair initiative months ago. It's just not completed yet. Obviously. Maybe super obviously.
I don't believe that. I actually don't believe that.
As with transit, when working these issues, we try really hard to avoid what are known as hack fixes and focus instead on trying to uncover what is ultimately the root cause that will create all this instability underneath. And that process can often seem like absolutely nothing is happening for days or even weeks at a time.
I feel like they had a meeting. Somebody said we need to fix the freight elevators. They said, you know what, you're right. And then nobody did it because they had to fix Hathor, a worm, fucking a space core that shoots out radiation. I can't, bro. Like this one sounds like bullshit. And I rarely have ever felt like I am being completely lied to my face, because we saw in the notes or something that they said, thank you so much. We noticed just now that these freight elevators are so bad through all of your most recent recent reports. Like, you already put your cards on the table that you're fucking clueless to the issues that were at hand here. Not like in general, but to these issues. You were clueless, or you didn't care, or whatever. You fucked it up. You fucked it up. End of story. We told you that's what we're here for. You didn't do anything about it. Done. End of story. There's no way that we should have not working elevators today, because it's been 8 months and they have been broken the entire time. The entire time. But only the last month or two, you've had an initiative to fix them. You're still admitting that you guys are a clown show when it comes to stuff, because all of the content you made for the entire year used them. All of the events used them as well. Let's add that one. You guys remember trying to do Save Stanton, Fight for Pyro, whichever one, with the Deditrine? Remember that? Where the Deditrine wouldn't go down and you had to stack it up in the sky to get it to go down, or some weird shit. Remember that? It was just nonstop issues with freight elevators, especially outpost ones, and they kept using them. But they didn't fix them. They didn't do the initiative they're doing now, because people have finally boiled over and said enough is enough. I feel like Jared is listening to me, and he's making this face like, I can't believe I still have to listen to this idiot. How is he not left yet? We've been trying to get him out of this community for so long. Well, I'm not going anywhere because you keep screwing up, man.
So last month, what happened with Race for Stanton? Well, sometimes changing how we use old features can be just as painful as adding a bunch of new ones. With a higher concurrency in daily active users than any patch this year, large numbers of players were driven from their private freight elevators and their personal hangars to the more troublesome ones out in the PU. Statistically rare states became common, and less...
Yeah, you're clueless. Okay, statistically rare is you're clueless, right? Am I crazy here? Like, at times I feel crazy talking to these people. I'm not crazy here. Statistically rare states. Go do a contested zone. One time, dude. Actually, go do them 100 times and tell me how that goes for you.
Less common issues became fertilized and grew into bigger, unavoidable ones. Although in many cases, this still took hundreds or even thousands of players using each freight elevator to manifest a single issue. Now, like the transit before it, or the infamous 30K issues of old, who remembers those? The issues you encounter in the PU are not always due to one or two bugs, but often dozens and dozens of underlying conditions beneath and around it, which throwing thousands and thousands of players at have helped us address more successfully than ever before. And since the release of Alpha 4.2.1 and up until the recording of this video, we've identified the root causes of 44 individual freight elevator issues, with 20 of them being classified as blockers or critical, and
they have been there the whole fucking time, dude.
All of them with causes only revealed by running thousands of people into them over and over and...
Guys, I mean, I'm sorry. We've dealt with this the entire year. You can't lie to me like this. You can't do this. This is not fair. This is not okay, dude. You are losing the trust of everyone around you by doing this. What are you trying to gain by doing this? What are you trying to gain? Every person in chat has interacted with a freight elevator in an outpost, and every single one of them has experienced. Do you remember when cargo missions, and when you failed them, you lost all of your reputation? Do you guys remember this? Do you remember how many times you lost your reputation to the point where you stopped doing them altogether? What is going on here? This didn't take thousands of people. It took hundreds. I don't get this. I don't get what the goal of this is. It's almost like Jared was like, hold my beer. They'll trust me. Well, your information is really bad. And I think the reason the information is really bad. Okay, I'm about to freak out. Mike, you're just assuming the worst in people all the time, bro. You have no way to identify how much concurrence caused any of these issues. Oh, please keep defending the billion-dollar company and the guy who you don't know on the camera, dude. He just said this patch, you ready to get absolutely dumpstered? And I'll just use his words. Okay? He just said this patch had the most concurrency possible. The issues that we're experiencing in this patch only are showing up when you fire thousands and thousands and thousands of people at them. Meanwhile, these issues have existed for the entire time that outpost freight elevators have been there, and clearly the concurrency was lower. The concurrency was lower, and less people interacted with them, and they were still there. Those people made reports. Those reports were either ignored or archived or listened to and talked about, but action was never put onto it the way it was now. I've said this for the last couple of weeks. The only reason this guy put on his clown makeup today and got on camera is because they were stupid enough to put the freight elevator as the intro mission, which tells you that they were so fucking clueless from the start. Okay? And thank God they were, because anybody who was trying to do small to medium cargo missions with their favorite ships like myself, the Hull A, can maybe now do them. Anybody who was trying to do a contested zone might be able to do them now. Anybody who is trying to store some cool shit that they found at Hathor down a freight elevator might be able to do it now. Okay? We've been talking about this the entire year. Be respectful to Jared. No, I don't have to be respectful to Jared, first off, because he hasn't been respectful to me. So you get what you get. All right? That's it. You have no idea what you're talking about. Be quiet. Okay? Number one. Number two, that's a figure of speech, is like he's putting on his clown makeup to defend the company in this moment, not knowing everything here. This is disrespectful past Jared. Jared's just the figurehead here in front of us with the wrong information. If chat's calling Jared the R word, that just time them out. Okay? That's it. We don't need that.
And over again throughout this event. Now, in a phrase that should be very familiar to our software engineer enthusiasts out there, as we work to fix each issue we encountered, the resolution would often reveal another lying in wait underneath. But this is a good thing, yeah? We did all this intentionally to force progress so we can finally fix freight elevators like we did 30K and are still doing with transit? No. Now, while the project will definitely benefit from what happened long-term with all the fixes and hardening that's been going in and that will continue to go in throughout Alpha 4.3 and beyond, the answer to what really happened isn't particularly exciting or salacious or any different than what I imagine most of you already suspected. We knew there'd be issues like there have been, but we underestimated how they'd compound on top of one another at higher stresses. It's been a sometimes frustrating.
Them doing it intentionally is, I don't think they were smart enough to do that. But there's no way of knowing if that's true or not. I don't believe it was true, but you can't argue it. You can't argue against it. It's possible. I think it's 1% possible. But
process for everyone on both sides of the project. But at the same time, we're super proud of the content and cadence we've achieved this year, and of the strides all of our teams are making to make this the most compelling year of Star Citizen gameplay yet. For every single step backwards, I truly believe we're taking multiple strides forward, and the overall improvements to the experience along the way are what keep many of us motivated to continue going month after month. And with this new Onyx Facilities content drop being spread out over multiple releases, we're going to continue taking the time to improve existing experiences along the way. And
which was absolutely not going to happen if this release went well. This release went so bad that they probably were like, yeah, we can't keep doing this.
To that end, as some of you probably have already heard, it was in the loading screen and whatnot, we're also going to go ahead and extend the Race for Stanton missions while we continue to work on freight elevators throughout Alpha 4.3. It'll mean another month for folks to try to dethrone Hurston from the lead they hit so very early, for you to earn any of the individual rewards that are still outstanding, and for us to continue beating on freight elevators about the head and neck with the proverbial pipe along the way. And all while you continue your exploration of ASD's latest malpractices. And speaking of which, we've also made the decision to keep relatively quiet on Onyx Facilities and ISC and beyond. We do this to better let you investigate and discover things for yourself. But that doesn't mean there isn't more that August has to offer. So let's go ahead and use our remaining time this week to explore the other aspects of this new release in Patch Report Alpha 4.3.
I feel like I have to apologize for that rant because I feel like people are going to be annoyed by it, but I cannot describe how horrible it was to deal with freight elevators in all of this amazing content that they say they made this year. I feel like the people that are watching have not played or have not played enough to understand how bad it was. Imagine going through an entire contested zone loop with all of the issues involved in it, and the only reward at the end you can't even take. I was so excited for contested zones. So excited. Not even mentioned here. Not even mentioned. I enjoyed cargo missions. But when I lost all my rep after failing one, I was done. That was so weird. Don't become Blizzard. Please don't. All of us are here for you to literally not do what you just did. All of us are here because you never would do what you just did. That's why people follow this project as closely as they did. I would much rather, yep, we fucked up. We're going to fix it. We should have been on top of it earlier. But we weren't. We took 6 minutes to bullshit our way out of making the same fucking mistakes over and over again. I don't get it, dude. I don't get it. If you didn't know how bad they were, you should have. Statistically rare. is insane. What is rare? 49% of the time?
For several years now, we've had these ground storms with rain and snow and whatnot, and those are sticking around for a while yet. But in Alpha 4.2, we continued to get our feet wet with the first iteration of dynamic rain. And now, 2 months later, in this release, we're continuing our climate campaign with the nascent version of dynamic snow, which leverages the same system to sleet the skies wherever the surrounding situation
I think snow kind of sucks. Thoughts?
Sorry. It's a small thing to let us avoid rain falling on snowy areas, but these incipient iterations will continue to develop both in gameplay and in its sights and sounds over subsequent releases. And meanwhile, in things you can wear and hold, almost every patch this year has
Okay, that looks cool. The green on the green, you can barely see the guy.
had a new armor and weapon to discover. And in August, you'll find the new Specialist Light Stealth Armor. There are a few different variations floating around, including a neat ASD one.
Super duper rare to find this one, by the way.
And this one from Wicklow. It's an interesting visor, but it does beg the...
Hello? I hope they fix this. 1 second, I'm going to go back like frame by frame. I hope they fix the neck showing.
But it does beg the question, with the blast shield down, how can I even see? How am I supposed to fight? To which the answer is, I probably shouldn't quote Star Wars, because Disney has lawyers. We've also got a new Volt weapon this month called the Zenith.
That's probably why the new ship doesn't look as good.
Sniper rifle that, and let me read this text I have on the screen here from Zach, combines the raw punch of a charged sniper shot with the rapid fire precision of a marksman rifle. Which doesn't sound OP as heck at all, Zach. Now, there are some...
I think this one actually is not OP for the first time. Of all the Volt... This is the worst Volt weapon, I think.
Notes here about how loud it'll be and how important managing heat is, because if you don't, it becomes essentially
I think they got this one right.
Like me. And it's the latest in this year's line of Volt weapons, and like all the others before it, you can be the judge if its advantages are worth the trade-offs. Also, hanger respawning returns. Now, it's a small thing, but the ability to spawn directly into your personal hangar and get back into the fray should be a welcome one for anyone that's played the game for a while.
Yep.
Personal hangars are slowly becoming our first...
How dare they show this when you can't do this? PC is literally cringing right now.
First true homes in the verse, and this is yet another step in the right direction. Also another step in the right direction, spawning ground vehicles from the freight elevators, which is not coming in Alpha 4.3.
So why the fuck are you talking about it?
But I've got a platform, and I'm going to use it to say everybody wants it, Benoit, and we're going to find time to prioritize it for the schedule. After more fixes in the next couple months first.
Why even say that?
Let's move on to virtual currencies. Now this year we introduced Wicklow, the collector, and his emporium of esoteric effects. Not the actual name. And over the last couple months, we've seen vehicles new and old get added to his inventory as variants with unique paints and components. And that's great. Or at least it was once we killed the RNG thing. Yay! But what about the various ship shops in the verse? Where's my Golem, the Fortune, the Guardians? Well, in Alpha 4.3, inventories are getting updated with many of the most recent ships that have been released. What this means is, while you can still pledge for ships to support the continuing development of Star Citizen,
Of course. Don't stop pledging, everyone. Don't stop.
and you can still work for those fancy component variants of many with Wicklow, you should also be able to pursue the base versions of newer vehicles for AUEC, and in a more reasonable timetable from now on. It's our way of saying, yeah, we'll be better at this going forward. It was Tyler Wickens' fault.
Probably not. But it's an MMO. The amount of money you make in the game is insane. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, like I would be totally fine if you're able to get chips super easily and super fast if they were destroyed. But I think that none of it matters now. Let's be very clear here. I don't care if ships were 1 credit in game. I think every ship should be flyable for everybody, so they find the bugs faster. You know, just like freight elevators, like we found those really fucking fast and told you about them a lot and really early. Remember that? Oh, yeah, that was 6 minutes ago. I forgot. But everyone should just be able to fly everything, and it's like, whatever. So I don't really care about like how much people have to grind for something in the alpha. But I do hope that they understand that hopefully this gets balanced one day. For now, go for it. I don't care. I like the idea of Wicklow. I like the idea that people have to grind for something that they actually wanted. And the more you take what they want and make it like ultra accessible, the less people band together, work together, things like that. And yeah. Have you guys looked behind them? The wolf's in the middle. Rock TS is there. Jalopy. The Hermes. The Arrow. And something else, like Mirkaz or something. But that, like, it's supposed to be a joke. Like, the something stuff is something these. So, like, there's a joke here. But I imagine one of these is real. Hermes sounds real.
And while we're talking about spaceships, starting back in May and continuing with each monthly patch after that, the Vehicle Experience team began the next wave of flight tuning adjustments for every ship in the verse, hitting most of the heavy and medium fighters and interceptor subclasses within. Now with Alpha 4.3, it's time for some light fighters to get their pass. This includes adjusting SCM and nav speeds to increase variation within the class, altering
to increase variation within the class, i.e., we're adding another another spaceship that we want to make sure has a role or is OP, one of the two.
The linear and angular accelerations, adjusting health pools, and even swapping out some flight controller components. Now there's a whole list with details in the patch notes, but if you haven't flown your light fighter in a while, maybe give it a go this patch. And while we're talking about light fighters, what would a patch in 2025 be without brand new vehicles? And for August, we've got the long-awaited debut of the...
You know what the patch would be without brand new vehicles? Less shit.
L21 Wolf.
Less buggy.
It's sleek. It's slick. It's kind of like a cool spaceship Rorschach test. See, some people see a fancy hot rod, some people see a Supermarine Spitfire, and some people like me see a Naboo Starfighter. But it's not. It's not Disney. It's the newest light fighter from Cougar Intergalactic, a brand previously known for the Merlin and Archimedes, 2 ships who share the same names as characters in an old animated film about King Arthur from... Now you can learn more about it in our dedicated Behind the Ships episode, also available on YouTube, and the L21 Wolf will be flyable as soon as Alpha 4.3 releases. And lastly, let's go ahead and touch on this month's big content drop, the new Onyx facilities. Now this is a big swing from our environment, level design, mission, sound, and every other team that's worked on them. And that's why I'm not going to say a whole lot. Everyone here really wants you to just get in there and experience them for yourselves. And don't forget, this is our first multi-part release of the year. So we'll open up that third and final wing eventually, and you'll find out what Dr. Yor and ASD has really been up to. It's more than just worm torture, I can promise you that.
Okay.
Ultimately, this month, like this year, will continue to see Star Citizen pushing its development into lots of new directions. And, quite frankly, some are going to work better than others. Some are going to take us a bit to figure out. And some are going to be some of the best and most interesting content we've ever released.
Do you think he's sitting at his desk in the studio so it it's more like apologetic instead of sitting in the giant spaceship that we built for him.
Alina Mine, Stormbreaker, Onyx facilities. I just want to shout out all the work everyone on dev is doing to keep this year interesting
more
and to
relatable or
continue
something?
improving the existing gameplay systems along the way. And then, of course, the continued engagement with the project from you, who are coming back month after month in record numbers to see where we're going next. And finally, if you are wondering why I'm at my desk, where I spend most of my day doing
I am wondering
my other job behind the scenes that has little to do with ISE or SCL, there's this little...
I did ask that today. What is his other job? What does he do? I'm very curious because I said it earlier. He's not been making ISEs. He's not been doing SCLs. Very obvious. They haven't been there, right? So, like, what is he getting paid to do then? And I just know Jared to work his ass off, right? Like, always and forever, never stop. And like, I know he's working. It's just not on the stuff we would love him to.
Little thing called CitizenCon Direct coming up on October 11th. And the spaceship is currently locked down for the next 8 weeks filming for that. So be sure you check out the latest post on the Bar Citizen Global Watch Parties to find out where you can join our staff to watch it as it unfolds. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for listening to me yak about freight elevators for 5 minutes. And I was going to do a joke here at the end where I pretend to push a button and the elevator takes me down beneath my desk. But considering the work that we still have ahead of us in fixing them proper, it would probably go a little something like this. I'll just say we know what's left to do and we're on it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
I hope so. I mean, that's how it should have went. We figured out the source of the problem. We know what's left to do, and we're on it. The thing is I don't believe they know the source of the problem if they think the source of the problem is concurrency. Unless, no, it can't be. They never worked. They never, ever worked. Yeah. I can't. I can't. They never worked. Concurrency or not. I feel like SC is turning into an FPS game where you can fly spaceships sometimes. I think you are looking at this the wrong way. It is a space game that you choose what you want to do. If you never want to go on the ground, then you should never go on the ground and you should just fly spaceships. But I don't like to fly spaceships. So I love that there's options for me. So maybe you should look at it that way. But that was ISC. Again, I think I want to apologize for a little bit for how frustrated I was. But again, that was a year of frustration boiling over. I can't describe to you guys how horrible the experiences with freight elevators have been. And I cannot fathom that you are just finding out about this now. I can't. And I think I pointed my anger towards the screen when I just don't understand how we don't know that these things happen. And I don't get it. I just don't get it. And I don't understand how the timing of that was just so unnecessary. And I can't. It's so annoying. It really is. Like, this is not the year of playability for a lot of us. This is the year of instability and frustration and confusion. And that's how I feel right now. I just don't know how this could have been. I have my theory. We know Chad McKinney left. We know he was paramount. They literally said this publicly, that he was like paramount to fixing hangars and freight elevators. It's like that was his thing. And then he left, and then nothing got fixed for months. They can't say that because then they look bad. But I think that's what happened. And wasn't he let go? No, he went to go work at Blizzard. Like he like went and got his dream job position or something like that. Lars, run away. This is a bad time. This is a bad time for any dev to be in this chat. But yeah, that's what I think happened, and it just sucks. And this was the worst way to, the worst way to apologize I've ever heard. The worst way, it just felt like a lie. It may have been entirely true, but I just can't believe it. I can't believe it. And I won't. That was dog shit. I'm sorry.